Welcome to the Leads Are Shit. My name is Taylor, and I'm here with Andrew Fogliato because this is a real estate magazine podcast, and he is the owner of Real Estate Magazine and the founder of Just Sell Homes, a real estate marketing company so that realtors can just sell homes because they'll take the marketing right off their plate. And they're referring to
So,
realtors like me. I'm a realtor. My name is Taylor Hack, and I'm from Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, where I run a real estate team and sell some houses. We got some people coming into the room. Good to see everybody. As you come in, feel free to introduce yourself. Tell us where you're at, how you're feeling today, what you're grinding on. We
and
love
I'm
it when you
curious,
guys are
actually,
coming.
let's get an answer from everyone. Have you started 2026 planning yet? Or are you waiting? Or just have no plans to do it at all?
Actually, do you do it and when do you do it?
Yeah. Alicia says, you better be doing it, Alicia. You're like coaching your brokerage on their business. Like, you have to be the one doing it. Unless it's a classic do as I say, not as I do scenario.
Ooh, Ron's waiting.
Yeah. Nope. Waiting for what, Ron? And then Ryan's just starting out. It would not be Alicia's style. You got to change your name from Paul Barron to Alicia on that because it always throws me off. Um, all right. You started your 2026 planning, Taylor?
You betcha I have. Well, right now I'm gathering all the information. So I met with Tony this morning and we were talking about an analysis of 2024. Some of the things on our list are basically one, how did we do? We started 2024 with a plan. What did we execute on? What did we choose not to? Did we have good reasons or did it
24 or
just get,
25?
or sorry, 24? Yeah. We started 25 with a good plan. But what did we execute on? I thought we did our launch process really well. I also think that we communicated with our client base really effectively. Some of those things we crushed it on, but where we need some improvement is conversion.
Yep.
And that's going to be something that we take into the approach on open houses and also on our response to online inquiries.
And so is it a conversion across the board or is there specific areas?
Mm, kind of both. And what I mean by that is there's going to be some teammates that have conversion trouble across the board.
Yep.
And then there's going to be some people that convert really well on one lead type and not as well on the other because they don't have the right action set for it. So, for
Makes sense.
example, if you get an opt in lead, like somebody who's contacting you intentionally through realtor.ca and they have a question and want to see something, and then you highlight that against forced registration where they saw kind of part of some information and then clicked on it, but you ended up with contact information, those are very different approaches.
Yep. Makes sense. But it's good. And what else, like from a 2026 standpoint, what else are you looking at?
Mm. Well, we're measuring this last year so that we can use that information going forward. I have a lot of teammate measurement. So one of the things that we're talking about this year is hiring when we have the statistical probability based on historics to have good outcomes.
Yep.
So there's certain times a year that probably don't make as much sense to bring on new agents, and I think I have a feel for it, but I might be wrong. They might take longer to train, so we should be hiring them further before there's action. Or it could be that we're hiring them too far away from action and that getting going before they feel financially on fire is the trouble.
Yeah. And I mean, I actually do know the answer for you, but I'm curious because this is one that I think a lot of people don't think about team leader wise when they're looking at bringing on an agent. Is sometimes it's just, oh no, I just bring a body in and see what happens. Others like an Alex Wilson, if you guys know him in Toronto, his is like, I bring in an agent. Here's the exact 7-step plan I use that gets them business in this time frame and this system, and here's how it works. And like he has it so systemized that like he knows how much his business will go up based on the person coming in
Hmm.
versus like we're just gonna throw another body at it and see what happens.
Hmm. Yeah, I think it's similar to the question about when should I buy a house?
Yeah.
I think mostly it's when you're ready. And then you can also have tipping points for time of year.
Yeah. And when are you looking at bringing people in?
Well, part of it is when Tony like is based on Tony's development. So, for those people that don't know much about my team, I've been a team leader since 2015, and I was kind of like a team captain from 2015 to maybe 2019, and then I was out of production from 2020 until most of 2020. I guess it was probably maybe even late 2019.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I got back into production a little bit in 2024 and then kind of leaned into it in 2025. I have one teammate that's been with me for 6 years. His name is Anthony. And now Anthony, I look at as a partner and also as someone who's kind of rocking assistant sales manager, moving into sales manager as we bring in our team and reformat it because we changed structure from last year when I came back into production. It's done some cool things. Our average price is significantly higher than it was when I was out of production. Um, and it is also given us more opportunities at great listings, which is why we're running
Yeah.
that Dean Jackson listing multiplier process.
Yeah.
So talking to Tony about it, bringing people on is going to be kind of capacity a bit because right now he like we use belts here, which means that Tony's a brown belt, and as he gets teammates to go from white belt to blue belt, he will earn his black belt, which is a teacher. And our white belts right now, Brianna, I think only has one stripe left. There's four stripes per belt, and then she can qualify to challenge for her blue belt. And Jeremy just finished his first quarter with the team, and he has one stripe. And that's for teamwork because he's been really helpful to teammates and contributing, which has been great. So now when we take a look at going into next year with Tony, I think that he could probably have two more white belts, and then that would be a lot. And then getting Brianna into blue belt would be key so that it is less time from him.
So here's a one because we have actually an article coming on Monday in Rem from Matt Regan, and like I don't think you were in his session at the conference we were at together in Halifax. So we'll start with the initial question that he had, and I'm curious how you would feel about it when you're, especially when you're looking at your 2026 plan. If your team was a publicly traded company, would you invest in it?
That's great. So basically, to decode that, an investor wants higher profit and share value,
Yeah,
or higher share value, which is resulted in profits.
yeah,
So, will your company be significantly more profitable? And base that against contrast. So, we know that over the last, I think that people have been talking shit. And what I mean by that is they say that the market's moving up 10% a year in stocks. And I was like, man, it depends on where you're standing in the market. But even if we said that we could compare it to a conservative 8%, is my business going to be over 8% more profitable next year? I would have to say that that's something that if you wouldn't invest in your own company, if you're not achieving those milestones, I
yeah.
really got to wonder if you're going to do something else.
You had a
Because
really
this
good
year we're
point.
doing less transactions and higher profit.
Yeah. He had a good point when he was talking about it, and the article came out, you can read it, and it was basically what he sees a lot of team leaders are actually doing. Because, like, you're in production, which is what made me think about it, is most team leads who are in production, if they actually dive into the numbers, are subsidizing their own team members. So, like, their profits actually coming from their deals. And if and he's like, that's where most of the problem for most teams comes is like that's why the team lead can't often get out of production is because without it, they'd actually be losing money.
Yeah, but that comes back to what I was saying about getting back into production is you can either make wake that other people can ride on, or you have to pay for something that makes wake.
Yeah.
And when I was paying something else to make wake, the quality and profit was lower and the cost of doing that was higher. So I was running really thin margins. And
Yeah.
that's what whereas when a team leader is in production and if they are like an agent that like has magnetism and can make things happen, I think that in that case, you have to look at it maybe a little bit different. Like, what is the team's role?
Yeah.
Because I can tell you that if I were to say, like, what is the biggest value of my team to me, is one, I'd just rather not do this alone. Having coverage from people that understand how to deliver the value proposition I deliver, that's super valuable to me so that I can actually go away. Not having to do all the homework and the stuff I don't want to do, also super valuable. And my teammates actually like pay for the majority of my support team.
Yeah.
So really, when I take a look at the fractions of the job that I have left, which I'm trying to isolate to be the most important parts that only I can deliver, well, when you set it up that way as a team leader in production, it makes a lot of sense. And I have to say that you're always working in a company spending time with people that aren't your family for a large part of the time. It is awesome to choose those people.
Yeah, you want to, I mean, it's a huge part of it, right? It's like working with people you want to
Yeah. Like
and
if I
get
met
along
my
with.
18-year-old self today and said, you could have what I have right now, fight me. I don't even think I'd finish the words before he knocked me out. Right? Like, oh, did you have a bad day today? Were you driving in your Tesla with your Frenchie on the way to the office of people you chose? Oh, it's so hard.
Yeah, muffin. Yeah. But that was actually not, this was 2026 plan was not our plan for today.
No, no,
So
no.
maybe we
We
should
were we
actually
were
get into the
continuing a
actual
conversation.
plan. Yeah. All right, you want to tee it up?
Sure. So
All
we're
right.
kind of going through the life of a listing. And from the perspective of listings used to have a very short life. And now as they have a longer life, a lot of people are like, okay, how do we solve once we're in motion? This listing's on the market, it's either getting action or it's not. What should we measure in order to choose? We've talked a fair amount about that. And then last week we were kind of diving in really in detail to price changes. What do you do beforehand? What do you do during? What do you do afterwards? How much do you change? How can you reduce the amount of options your clients have? Because if you give them like pick a number in a $50,000 range, that's $50,000 options. But I don't see that many options in a $50,000 range. Like in a $50,000 range, I actually only see oh 5 options. And that really helps my clients make sense of that. And that's what I'm there for is to frame decisions for them and support with data. So then now we're moving into like let's say that the listing is coming to an end. We know that they end a few different ways. So in short, listings end by finding a buyer or not. And in detail, finding a buyer could be when you bring or not. And when it doesn't find a buyer, it could be expired, terminated, or withdrawn.
Yep.
So let's kind of go through that. And also, when it does find a buyer for a portion of the time, I think most of us use the same language and would call that pending.
Yes. Conditional, firm, all those.
Yeah.
Oh no, yeah, pending would be the from you got it firm to closing.
So let's talk a little bit about maybe the positive outcomes first. The
Yep.
property does find a buyer, and you are going pending.
Yep.
That's an event. Do you see it as a marketing event?
Everything is a marketing event. So the answer is yes, everything is a marketing event. It's like because like one of the arguments there too is like that is for a lot of clients the happiest part of the process.
Is it going pending or having conditions removed?
I mean, similar.
I
Pending
think it is
before waivers.
similar.
Is that what you call it there? Maybe it's different language in Alberta to Ontario.
Well, like pending
Slightly.
and sold would be the statuses.
So it's conditionally sold.
Yeah, we call that pending.
Okay. So no, okay, so that's conditional. Conditional sale, and then you have the firm deal. Okay. All right. And we're on the same page. We got a little back. So yeah, pending. So this is depends on like from a marketing standpoint, the situation, right? Like, is it one you're confident they're going to remove it or not? Right? Is it what is the, what is it pending on? Like if, for example, it is on the sale of the buyer's property. You have to keep marketing it because you want to have that ability to put the pressure on so that they'll remove that condition.
Hmm.
But it's also going to reduce the amount of offers because people are going to see conditional sold or pending. And they might be scared away and be like trying to get on the byline. You got to get them off the sideline to put that offer and to put the pressure on. If you're pretty confident, like I know when I was selling, I typically knew when conditions were on if these were ones that would be removed or not. Because like I know if it's probably going to pass the inspection, the odds like I never really had an inspection that happened, or I didn't already know if it was going to do well or not. I know it's not actually a pass fail thing, but we did pre-inspections or we did things like that where we knew what was coming.
Hmm.
Um, and then so like basically our whole goal was we should never be surprised during the process. Um, and then finance, yeah, you can't always know for sure what they're gonna get, but like GTA back then wasn't really an issue. That's the
Well, let's
most
break that
part.
down a little bit. So,
Yeah.
first off, the decision to go pending at all.
Yeah.
For me, it depends on what your market is,
Yep.
but taking a subject to sale offer actually just gives me more chance to win. So when other buyers in the market see a subject to sale offer, it makes them more aggressive because it's like someone loves this, but you get the chance to steal. That's a
Yeah.
compelling argument. So that's one thing is it creates attraction. And so I could use that in my marketing and take this one to one, one to some, and one to all in talking to those people that are inquiries around this that the property is now under an agreement. Got a great offer, love it. But you still have the chance to steal. So if you were
Yeah.
watching this and we're sitting on the fence because you thought we might do a price reduction, we don't need to do price reductions. There's other buyers that'll pay this price.
Yeah. Here's our
Then,
number now.
yeah, one to some. So, like talking to the agents that showed the property and saying, hey, we're now pending, but it is subject to sale if you've got somebody who now has a house sold or whatever else.
Yeah.
And then one to all. So, if you're going to present this as pending, in my market, it's required. So, I have to update status as pending. When they do that, they'll cut things like the realtor.ca feed.
Yep.
So that limits my marketing. So now I'm only dependent on the marketing that I can create. So when you see that as the challenge, what do you think?
So first thing I go to, which is the quickest, is you're gonna go into email marketing because you have two opportunities. One, to drum up interest in it because now it's that thing that they could still get, but it's a little bit harder now. But you're also marketing the fact that you accomplished that and it's going sold soon. And there's going to be like it's proof that you've done your job. Not all the way, but to a lot of people, it's that proof. So you're kind of doing a little bit of both. Um,
So the way you're looking at this is who are we talking to first?
yeah,
Because if you're talking to other sellers, you're doing a great job on your way to a successful sale.
I want
But
buyers
if
to
you're
know that I
talking
do
to
that
other
too.
buyers, you want them to say, hey guys, you still have a chance to steal. Get in here.
But I also like, and it's similar messaging to both to a degree in like the one-to-many communication. It's different when you get on like a call or communication one-to-one with them. Because really what I want them to see is that I'm someone who puts deals together,
Mm.
right? Because that helps both sides. Is like there's a buyer, even if it's through another agent, that we help get this home and we put something together that everyone's happy. The seller, we got their home sold. So if you are someone who wants to get your home sold, come to me. If you're a buyer and you're looking to get your own place, you can get a deal like this, come to me. Right? It's that idea of I make deals come together. And especially if it's a market where they're not that common right now, right? Like Alberta is a little bit better market right now than like Toronto. Again, Toronto being more like area dependent, type of home dependent how the market is. But like if you sell a condo right now in Toronto, I would be on either side
I did it.
marketing. Yeah.
These
Look at
people are
this.
still alive. These are the
Yeah.
sellers. See, they're breathing, they're talking.
Yeah.
No.
They can fog glass. Uh, but yeah, like I want to do it as like getting ready for that proof of this is like it's almost the first part of the testimonial style marketing of like I get results for clients. Now you have to be careful. This is where it's again careful. Like if you think the deal might fall apart, you might want to be quiet that it's gone conditional to a degree because now you get the reputation of this is someone whose deals falls apart. So there's that fine line you're walking between I'm getting backup offers, I'm getting stuff done to they might start looking at me as their deals fell apart because then people start thinking, well, what's wrong with the house? Did it not pass it? Because like even if there was no even inspection condition, they don't know that. They
Mhm.
might think, oh, they found something in that house. There's something wrong with it that killed the deal. They walked away, right?
Yeah, so trying to control that and talking about it, and then also making it common enough that you can, or kind of, you want to be able to rinse and repeat these things.
Yeah.
So for me, I know that 9 out of 10 of my listings that go pending go sold.
Yeah.
Part of the reason is because I talk to the agents and I ask some other questions. Like I ask obvious questions, but not is your client pre approved? Have you seen a pre approval letter from this client?
Yeah.
And then also, not just who their mortgage broker is, but did you recommend the mortgage broker? Right? Because if you recommended the mortgage broker, then that would be something that would be different than if you didn't, because I don't think that agents recommend mortgage brokers that don't get to the finish line.
Typically, no.
So if they're not working with your lender, that's really interesting because I really would want to know if we're talking with somebody who's now pre-approved through an account manager at a branch
Yeah.
versus something else. That's how I'm going to gauge my probability. The other thing that I ask that I don't think many agents ask, knowing that they either have to be honest with you or refuse to answer the question, in which case you have the answer anyway on a lot of questions, is your clients currently own a property that is pending or active on the MLS?
Yeah.
Because like a lot of people write offers that technically are contingent on someone selling their house, but because it's pending, they don't tell you about it. And I would want to know because then a lot of the time they'll tell me where it is and what it is, and I can see what I've got.
Do you
So
have much conditional on the sale right now?
no, our
Yeah.
market's been fast.
Yeah.
So
Like, couldn't imagine you would have too much of that.
yeah, well, I really see condition of sale as a specific golf club for a specific golf shot.
Yeah.
So if you're trying to buy something that has lower demand than the thing that you are selling, it would make sense for the seller of that other property to bet on your horse selling instead of their horse selling or their house. Like they should bet on your horse instead of theirs. And in that case, a subject to sale actually functions, but I can tell you that there's so many times that it is used for agents to get listings or in other ways where it's going to fall apart. I I don't like it as an apparatus overall.
Hold on. My audio just is not working.
Andrew lost his audio.
Hey,
So I'm just going to
can you
continue
hear
here.
me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me? I think he can't hear me. So
I
he's
can't
going to
hear
work
anything. Hold
that
on.
out and I'm going to keep going as we're
Okay.
talking.
It's it's back.
Okay?
Maybe it's not. Hold on.
All
So
right.
it keeps just so like I know you can hear me. It's like someone has pressed down the lower volume button. Every time I raise it, it just slides back down, but there's nothing actually on it. Okay.
Hmm.
Keep going. I'm
Oh,
gonna
is
switch
there
from
a
these to
button
my
on your
AirPods and see
headphones
if it's
that
the
could
issues
be
here.
pushed in?
I can't hear you.
Okay. Anyway, I'm going to keep going. Andrew's going to sort out his tech. So when we're talking about like having these properties on the market, managing these listings through their various outcomes, when the property goes pending, you have to really look at where you are trying to deliver that message and what message you're trying to deliver. It could be that you evaluate it on a series of filters and say, like, who do I really want to talk to in this situation? Because if I sold a listing in a market, like in a neighborhood where I want all the listings, well, then in that case, it's going to be easy for me because I want to talk to other sellers in that market and I want to know that them to know that I'm being successful. Whereas, let's say that it's in a neighborhood that I don't really like to pick up listings. Well, then I want this thing off the shelf, so I really want to continue to try to get buyers in. And Andrew also gave some other nuances where you think it's going to pass or not, or like pass the pending. And really, when it comes to inspections, I think that there is no pass and fail on inspection. I think there's
No.
bad match. And what I mean by that is first time home buyer is a bad match for a house that has deferred maintenance, right?
Yeah.
There, people that are not handy are a bad match for deferred maintenance houses.
Like good inspectors will also tell you there is no pass fail, right? Like it's,
Yes,
but
but
there
as
are
an
some who
agent,
treat it that way.
as an agent, I think there is a pass fail for you. Like
Yes.
if the inspection is as expected based on what we know of like a 1980s bungalow in the city that you are,
No.
well then in that case, if you decide not to proceed or that you have a laundry list of demands, it could be based on what the list price was set at. But in most cases, I think it's just bad match.
No. Like I mean, I know I don't think it's as popular in your market, but I like there's agents who are allowed to that point. Like people are waffling the specs, like I'll buy you a home warranty, and they just
Yeah, and
include it in the
that
sale price.
happens not at all here. Now,
Yeah,
keep in
I mean, it's
mind that
not super common here. It's huge in the US.
mm,
Warranties. Like the warranty, home warranty business in the United States is a big business.
well, man,
It's it's
their
everything.
insurance industry is like on steroids.
Yeah, it's a whole different animal, but it is here. Like you can get it here.
Okay.
Um,
So
and
if a
there's value.
property bounces and goes pending and back to the market, what do you think about that?
So that's where, I mean, you have to think about from a marketing standpoint that even if you know that it was like this person was never pre-approved, they screwed up. They should never have made that offer. It was more like their agent shouldn't have let them make an offer at that number, yada, yada, yada. Now it goes back in the market. You have to think about what the public thinks is they see a deal fell through. You have to be able to answer very easily and like really just alleviate that concern that something was wrong with the house. So you have to think about what can you do from your messaging standpoint to alleviate that concern, knowing that you also can't share private details of someone else's client.
And also, let's get into the perception of the audience. So the audience is normally not like super focused on that house. They're looking at a stream
Yeah,
of houses on websites like realtor.ca. When you go pending, your property disappears from their attention field, but they might not even look for it. They may not even notice that you went.
yeah,
There's also a group that is set up with realtors, and that group is closer to action, and they will actually, in most cases, know that you went pending and then get an announcement by email that you've come back to the market.
yeah,
So when you're thinking about communicating with agents that have showed the property, that's where you want to control that by email and say, hey, we came back to the market, but maybe what you want to say is something like no home inspection was completed.
yeah.
So
And that again,
they had conditions, but if I tell another agent they didn't even complete a home inspection, normally that means that their financing didn't pass the sniff test and they didn't want to spend the money.
and if you know the reason, like I'd pick up the phone and just call the agents that are most interested and just be like, hey, they weren't approved. Here's why. Because you also like
Well,
under
in
the
many
approval side,
markets,
you got to make sure that it's not an appraisal issue, right? Like the home didn't appraise for this price. Like you want to make sure they also understand why it fell apart.
in most markets across Canada, appraisals are not a factor right now.
Yeah.
In in many markets in Canada, there's not enough interest in for sale properties. So because of that, it's not going to be a situation where it's like, oh, I have a list of 5 agents that are really interested in this. It's going to be like, okay, I had 12 people that showed 12 agents that showed this property over 8 weeks.
Yeah.
And then I got an offer and we came to an agreement. We went pending and back out. So I'm kind of thinking that I would send an email to the rest of the agents because one of them may have had a client that has changed over time. They came with
Yeah.
big expectations. Now they're more realistic or coming back to this area.
Yeah. And they
So
might
I
be
like email
disappointed
for
that they
that
missed.
unless I know somebody who felt it was like a top three, then I'll get on the
Yeah.
phone.
Yep.
Then when you're taking it out to audiences from there, most of like the main audience, like the big wide audience, they're not active. They're kind of semi-active. So I don't even know that you would announce it as being back to the market or anything to the general public because they will now see it on realtor.ca again and other
Yeah.
websites. You've talked to the people that will get the notice to manage their reaction. And then after that, I'm just selling listings like I sell listings.
Yeah. You do have to be prepared, like if you're doing an open house, that some people will ask that question, right? Because like there are people
Mhm.
who will pay attention and want to come through. Now, some of those are just like nosy neighbors. They're not actual
Yeah, but
serious
that's what I
buyers.
like too,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
is because if they're coming by asking, like, hey, why did this come back to the market? I want to know, like, hey, were you close to making an offer on this house? And if I can reveal it's a neighbor, again, it's a different side for them because
Yeah.
what they need to know is that we got an offer and it was a bad match or it was a situation where it was like this, but here's how we navigated it. Because the reason you're paying attention to this sale is because selling's on your mind. You wouldn't be
Yeah.
here otherwise. So they want to know you were a good guide. Very different conversation than if you're talking to somebody who almost bought it.
Yeah. Well, it's like every conversation that you have as a realtor is you should be asking questions first. Like
Yeah. Hey,
too many
Andrew,
jump
how's the
right into it.
market?
Yeah, exactly.
And you answer a question with a question. I know that people don't think that you're supposed to do that, but you're supposed to do that. Well, it
Let's,
depends. What you trying to do, Andrew? Are
yeah.
you buying or selling these days? Because if,
Where
you
are
know,
you?
yeah.
What are you looking for? The market, which part of the market? Like
Yeah,
it,
well, honestly, most of the time when people ask that, they don't actually want the answer because I'm a nerd and I can give you the answer and watch your eyes
yeah.
glaze over as you slowly twist into darkness.
Well, I think a lot of it is like the how's the market question when someone finds out you're a realtor. It's different to asking in an open house versus like they run into you at like a social event is like they don't know what else to ask you,
Well, that's what they're saying
right?
is, hey, will you real estate with me? Like, will you
Yeah.
talk real estate with me? And that's the same thing at an open house, is most of the time when they're asking about the market, what they're technically asking is, hey, I've seen stuff in my neighborhood. Can you explain it?
Yeah, exactly. So it's one of those where kind of I would again, I agree with you that for the broader public marketing, you probably don't need to do a lot of talk about it. But you, if you start seeing people coming through, and this is where you have to really pay attention, right? Is like listen to the leads that come in. Are people bringing it up? Because there are homes that people talk about more, right? In a certain area, especially if you're like saying trying to create a new price point in a neighborhood, more people are watching.
Hmm.
So it's paying attention to the leads and stuff coming in. You might have to make adjustments to your marketing based on that. But I think most of the time you can go pretty flat out.
Okay, so we talk about pending that doesn't result in sale. Now let's talk about pending that results in sold. So
Yep.
again, we have these different audiences where we have one audience that is people that have engaged the property, so agents that have shown the property. Also, then you have another audience, which is people that are shopping with an agent where this would have appeared on their feed through their system. And then there's the people that are watching real estate on public websites like realtor.ca. Then you've also got your own network, which could be an email list like I have. And then the people that follow your social networks or would be exposed to
Yep.
things that are put in good hashtags.
Yep. So I mean, a lot of how you're marketing has to come down to like how you're set up at this point and how organized you are coming into it. Um, and hold on one sec. Actually, I just gotta take a screenshot of something and then I'll jump back in. Sorry. Okay, so it depends on how you're set up. So, like for me, when I'm looking at it, um, I want to look at how have people come in. So, like, where do I have them tagged? How do I have them tagged? Like, I want every lead off websites that indicate they probably don't have an agent. I'm going a lot harder after those with specific messaging. I'm going to pull also all the leads that came even in with an agent because I want to categorize them, those agents, as having a buyer for that type of home. Because then when I could go to market to the neighbors, I'm also going to talk about, I've also like got the list of like buyers interested and then which agents in town also have buyers for this neighborhood so that I can kind of get that pre-marketing going. Because again, the more data you have, the better. I mean, the next step from that, which I haven't worked with anyone who's ever done this, is when you see a buyer, someone with an agent with a buyer, track if they have a sale in the area on the buy side in the short period after that. And then you can cross them on or off the list, but that's a whole other
Yep, I've got into
debate.
that game. Anytime I
Yeah.
update my current listings on sales nearby, I always trace agents to be like, did they show us or not?
Yeah.
Hmm.
So it's like, I mean, the first step is that it's like, I always very simple messaging of, hey, this home sold that you were interested in. Um, are you looking for something similar? I can send you some options.
Hmm.
You know, you missed out on this one. Like, you know, that very standard. You missed out on this one. Do you want me to send you some other options that might fit? And then anytime you have a new listing coming up that could be a fit, you email those people again.
Yep.
And then that messaging changes depending on the listing itself. Like if it's the exact same type of home, the exact same type of neighborhood, you say, hey, we got a listing coming up. Do you want me to send you the details? It's very similar to this one you looked at in the past. If it's one of price, location, or conditions different, that email might look, we got a listing coming up very similar with a few differences that one you looked at. If you have an open mind, I'd love to send it to you. Would you like me to send you the details? And
Hmm.
it's just, again, you're kind of constantly going back to this database you've created, and going from there.
That's good info. Yeah, I like that where you're talking to agents in that same way because a lot of the time when you sell a listing, you do have opportunities to talk to the neighbors.
Yeah.
And you could tell them like, "Hey, are you only interested in properties in this neighborhood or is there like a range?" Because I'm always talking to people.
Yeah.
So there's a few things that you can do to kind of cover that stuff off and make sure that you hit it. Now let's go to another audience. So when you sell a property, you're going to have some agents that you can interact with, and then you can move to the outside with the big audience, which
Yeah.
is the widest audience normally, which is where your social media hits. What type of messaging do they need?
So I want to do case studies. And even if you're not saying it's a case study, that's essentially what we're doing, case study marketing. Because like any business, to oversimplify it when you're in services, your business is get a client, get them a result, advertise the result. Those results make other people want it, and you get more clients, then you get them a result and you advertise the result, and you just keep going through that loop. So like this is where you want to avoid, like my biggest pet peeve is just sold marketing. It just sold for 110% of asking price in 3 days. Or they don't care about that. Like one, if you're gonna do that, just switch it to sold for more than the clients thought. Um, but really it's how they got this result, and it's just story branding it like Donald Miller, right? And you're going depth. There's the quick and dirty way to do it, which is use ChatGPT. Um, and you can even have it do it like, hey, act as Donald Miller, create me a case study. Here's all the details of the sale. Write it for me. There's one we've talked about on the show, which creates, you need to do well ahead of time to plan out. And I believe the Godlintons are going to do this in Lethbridge. So I'm looking forward to seeing it. Is bringing like the videographer in at the beginning and filming
Mm.
the whole process, right? Like I would love it if 2026, at least once a month, you uploaded a 20-minute video that was like a documentary on the sale of a home. And if you could do that all the time, and it just
Yep.
constantly getting like, but really all you're doing is proof that you do the job and that you do it well. To oversimplify it, it's I cared about my clients, we got them results. Here's how we got them results.
I totally agree. I like case studies because I think that the way that people take in data is stories.
No,
I also like presenting it to them as stories. I like the idea that most people, what they actually need is three options and kind of why one is a better option. So
no,
delivering that to them in like a Goldilocks, this is too hot, too cold, just right, too hard, too soft, just right. That type of method, it really does just make it more streamlined.
yeah,
Because in most of the situations I'm in, there isn't two great options, right? There is if you can't see it clearly. There is if you're in complex situations. But even then, the idea would be is like, how can you turn it into a multiple choice menu for your clients and support them through the decision?
no.
So, I like what you're saying when it comes down to just sold. Like, let's talk to an audience. So, if we're talking to people that were buyers, sorry you missed it. We are talking to the neighbors. Would you like to talk to us about what we're talking about?
Yeah, and it's certainly we
Um,
got similar results. Actually, you know what I love? It was the Dean Jackson thing.
mm.
Um, he sent out a postcard to every neighbor. Did you see what your neighbors did last night?
Yeah, so that one
Yeah.
is also good, the FOMO play.
Yeah. And now here's also where you want to think about is like how organized are you to do it quickly is can you get the information out before it's online?
Hmm.
Right? Like can you get stuff out to the neighbors? Because there's a golden opportunity there. Because like there, I don't know what it's like in Alberta, but in Ontario, there's a lot of apps you can use to get sold price pretty fast without having to talk to a realtor. I don't know what that situation is off the top of my head in Alberta. Like how easily could a regular Edmonton homeowner figure out what their neighbor sold for if they
I
aren't
think that
friends with
most
the
of them, their
realtor?
first move would be to call their agent if they had one, or
Let's
then
assume
call
they
the
don't have
agent
an
on the
agent,
sold sign. Call the agent on the sold sign.
but there's no like app they're going through that they could quickly.
They can find it on websites like Honest Store,
Yep.
but they don't. It's just not popular enough here right now.
Okay. So like in that case, it's a like get ready that like as soon as they come out, I would go and drop like I would do the classic circle prospecting, right? Like letter into each neighbor's door, being like, hey, got your neighbor sold. Here's kind of how that happened. Here's kind of the details that you had to deal with. Craig is saying you don't have a House Sigma problem in Alberta. I don't think they have House Sigma in Alberta because every province also like and board it's different how they allow you to do data.
Well,
Um,
we normally have the least rules, so you would expect we have everybody, but we're also, I don't know, maybe we're just not the choice of folks to work with. Who knows?
yeah, like typically
Or
House
or
Sigma
probably
and
not a
then
large enough fish.
yeah, typically how most companies do it, because we obviously do a lot of consulting with prop tech vendors and stuff, is you do the Toronto or Vancouver market first. Whichever one you did first, you do the other second. Then you go Calgary, and then it's user demand from there. But
Oh, so like
typically,
basically like kind of work your way down the list of there's only
yeah,
25 cities that are over 250,000 people in
yeah, that's
Canada,
why
so
this is what everyone
it's
does.
not
It's
hard.
you do Toronto, Vancouver, Calgary, and then based on demand from there. Like
Mhm.
Ottawa's pretty popular as a number four. Um, because
Why Calgary third? Why Calgary before Ottawa?
it's got a lot of movement.
Mhm.
There's a lot more of like a like transient population in terms of like people moving in and out. There, because oil and gas, there's a lot of people who didn't grow up there moving there. People often moving back home after they've been there for a few years. It's a lot of movement in that market and typically decent money. Um, so it's like similar to like, and that type of market from like an online lead perspective is usually your best market for something like that. Like this is what we've noticed when we look at where our cost per lead best, it's markets like that. So like this is why like in Ontario, Burlington gets way better cost per lead than somewhere like Oakville.
Mhm.
Is Oakville more people have lived there most of their life and like they're more entrenched in the community. Whereas like Burlington, you do get a lot of people coming there who haven't lived there before. And when you get that scenario happening, there's more online lead potential. So it's you have to knowing those types of things. And I don't know what like how transient Edmonton would be compared to Calgary. Um, but and that
I'd say pretty similar.
yeah. And some like this is why like Fort Mac, for example, works great for stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because like no one
The churn is
really.
real.
Yeah, it's a small group that grew up and stayed in Fort Mac their whole life. But it's just again knowing the areas you're in and testing things like that out. Um, and yeah, so like Oakville, that's what it is. Whereas Calgary is the opposite. So it works pretty well for that. But no, Calgary very commonly is the third. And then like I mean Calgary, they also just lump in. Sometimes they just say Alberta, which really is Calgary and Edmonton.
Hmm.
Um, and then yeah, then from there it's 100% just where we seen demand. But I would typically yeah, it's Toronto, Vancouver, Calgary, and then you go from there. So like how Sigma, they're probably going to do that eventually of after Ontario if they expand. If I would guess they go Vancouver first.
Yep. Okay.
Well,
So being that that's the case, like you're talking about the speed of getting information out, that's the same thing is understand the value of that information.
yeah,
Exclusive information is more valuable than general information. New
correct.
information is more valuable than old information. When you have a condition waiver in your hand or an unconditional offer, the only people that know about that at that moment are like you, your clients, the other agent, their clients, and anybody they told directly.
No. Well, it's
So it's a pretty small circle. So you're in a race against MLS being updated, and you can also choose things. Like most of the time, there's rules, like you have to report within 48 hours. Why do you report before the 47th hour?
yeah, collect more leads.
Hmm. So choosing timing there is super important, and also what's your message. And like overall with all of these things, you should take a look at the different audiences and segment them up to your ability. Sometimes it's tough to get these things into details because it creates more work.
Yeah.
But when we take a look at listings in general, through the life of the listing, not just like when it's coming out, but there's people that are engaging the listing. So that's like your biggest source of buyers, whether they're working with agents or not. You're also communicating to agents. In my situation, I have agents that have brought us great offers in the past. I have a whole email list of them.
Yeah.
Also, any agent that showed the property or inquired about it. And then you have those clients that are already working with other agents. And why I differentiate to them is because they are options to get offers from. In fact, they are your number one source of offers. However, they are not options for client acquisition, which is
Yeah.
part of the real estate game. And you normally communicate with them through your MLS system. So what you do on MLS should be specifically more than anything to talk to people working with other agents that are close to making offers.
Yeah.
And then you also have neighbors. You have community members that can see that property from their house. And then you can see people that have a high frequency of drive-bys and a low frequency of drive-bys. Those community members are much more likely to be seller opportunities for you than buyer opportunities for you.
Yeah. I see I have a question here about what about Etobicoke? Um, I just lump it in with Toronto for results. I haven't seen meaningful differences from online perspective. Etobicoke similar, like Toronto just depends more on the type of home. Like condos, you see more movement online than like detached. But yeah, we've typically found there's no statistically relevant difference between like Toronto to Etobicoke ads. Um, but yeah, it varies. Like it's sometimes just testing. Like the other crazy thing with ads too is like I could run the exact same campaign for three realtors in the same area and get three wildly different results. Because it could be things like, and this is again depending on the areas and the platform. Like Google, it's going to be pretty consistent if the pages are similar and the ads are similar. But you'd be surprised at how much the profile photo and name of a page can also impact it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's huge.
People judge a book by its cover all the time. In fact, they do that more
Yeah.
often than anything else.
Well, it's trust signals, right? Like if it gives them that like I don't necessarily trust this because of the source it's coming from. Like we were running recruiting ads for two agents in the same area. Or sorry, they were in towns next to each other. Like but like they butted up to the point that like technically different towns, but not really. Exact same campaigns for each of them. One got a slew of great recruits. One got nothing.
Was it
And
like Simpsons, where it's Springfield and Shelbyville?
similar. The difference between the two of them was that the one who got all the recruits, really good reputation with agents in town. The other had a reputation as being vicious for the deal. They were like people liked them on the personal side, did not want to do business with them.
Hmm.
And but like that reputation alone doesn't matter how good the ad is. You gotta like do work to fix that first.
Yeah, your reputation enters the room before you do or your ads do.
Yeah. And like some we've had to do ads with other people where we have to take their name off it and we gotta go unbranded. So you gotta go completely under the radar.
Whew. Yeah, that should be a statement to you. That should be a direct statement to you that you are not like the
Yeah.
experience that people have of interacting with you is not the same that they have with other people. Are you
Not
getting a
always,
good
though.
enough trade for that?
Sometimes it is if you have a very ethnic name and you're going to advertise in an area where that ethnicity is not prevalent.
Hmm,
They sometimes like the ads tank in results as soon as that name leaves their like regular community of people with similar backgrounds. Um,
totally.
so it's like knowing those pieces, and sometimes that's just testing. But yeah, no, it's crazy the all those subtle little things that most people are like, okay, what's the ad copy? No, you got to look at the whole thing,
Yeah,
every
you got
piece
to
that's
look at the
going on.
whole thing.
Yeah,
Like, please look at the whole thing because otherwise you're going to
yeah,
judge us on Instagram profiles and I'm never going to get another listing again. Like, look at me.
I know. You
Uh,
got like a little bit extra buff in there.
the all right, so we talked a little bit about now. who these are and who you're talking to with solds and so on. But what about these listings that are coming up to expiry? Normally, termination is something where you're like stopping it now, so maybe not
No.
so much on that. But coming up to expiry, one of the things that I don't see and I have played with in the past is final week. Does
Yep.
anybody else do final week marketing?
I don't know that we've actually ever worked with a client and had to do that. I actually don't
All of
think
their
we've,
listings sell, Andrew?
yeah, don't you know we're amazing?
100%? That's the
I-
just sell homes guarantee.
yeah, it's our advantage.
I can say that.
No,
You can't say that, but I can say
no, I
it.
can't officially legally guarantee it. No. Uh, if it's priced right and we market it, it will sell. Um, but
Yeah,
price
so
right.
like, all right, so here's
Yeah.
what I'm trying to get. So when we take a look at those
Yeah.
audiences that we're trying to talk to, people engaging the listings and agents that either showed the property or inquired on it, how do they see final week? Because in my mind, what I want them to do is like not hold back now. Give me the
Yeah.
ugliest offer that you didn't want to give me, didn't want to
Yeah.
insult me,
Put something
swing
on
for the
paper. Like,
fences, right?
yeah.
And if I say final week, then I think that that motivates people like when they shop for cars near the end of the month. They're like, "Oh,
Yeah.
this realtor needs it." And I'm like, "No, I just want to show my clients they're so far above the market and now I have evidence."
Yeah. But yeah, like, I mean, I think depending on the length of the listing agreement as the variable to this statement is
And
like,
whether or not you're going to relist it.
yeah. But like, if it's a 6 month listing and it didn't sell, like, that's your fault. Like, it is
Well,
what it is.
so I guess it could be your
Like,
fault. Like either you could not see the market clearly enough to advise your client,
yep.
or the market changed, or your client was not honest with you about what their sale out price was. And it could be your fault on that side too, that you didn't work out their net to help them understand that decision before you committed to it.
At the end of the day, each of those are your fault.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like
Yeah.
I'm
Like,
showing,
it's,
like through the light of, like, technically, it all could be your fault because you didn't do
yeah.
enough in those zones,
Yeah. And I'm not
and
gonna
part of
sit here
it
and
could
say,
be that
but
you
you
didn't
suck.
filter it well enough.
Yeah. Like, I don't mean it's your fault in the sense of like, I think you suck at your job. I think it just means that one was your fault. Like, if it expires, if you're doing your job and your job is to get it sold, you can get
Yes.
it sold.
Okay, but under that same circumstance, a boxer should win every fight and a hockey team should win every
Yeah.
game.
And if they don't, they failed.
This is a Toronto fan in action right now.
Yeah. So
Uh,
that's your job. So yes, you fail.
yes,
And but
Blue
like
Jays failure,
they did
the
it.
Maple Leafs failure. But like,
Yeah.
look how close they get, though. That's the
Oh
thing.
no, it was beautiful. I had a great time. Like yes, it sucks they lost game 7, but it was a great time. Like you all that's what like when you went into that series, you're like, I want this to be as close as possible and be a great, great series of games. But no,
Well, I
they at the
like
end of the day,
Matt's comment. So Matt
yeah,
Richling, Ottawa, shout out to my boy.
yeah,
Uh, this business, and that's what I mean is that you have an over under record, and I've had 100% success rate with listings in a market that had
yeah,
like 70% success rates in listings. And what that meant is I probably wasn't taking enough risks.
yeah.
I could have probably done better as a business person to take, maybe another 5% more listings that wouldn't sell because they would lead me to other opportunities. So I wasn't playing the edge of the fence enough. But also, that's kind of how sports work. Like boxers and hockey teams don't win them all. It's about having a good record overall and having a
Yeah.
record that you grade against the curve as being better.
But this is back to like even if it is your fault, like I take a very similar approach to your match where everything is essentially your fault. Like every time something goes wrong, I assume it's my fault, and then I figure out how next time it won't happen. If you have a house that doesn't sell, like you should have your whole team essentially having an emergency meeting of like, what did we learn? How would we do this differently next time? And like
Hmm.
with an expiring listing, I would even do that before the final week ends because you should have a debrief meeting with your client, especially if they're not relisting with you. You should sit down and be like, here's why it didn't sell, and you should have answers. And it's like, if you do want to get it sold, here's what you'll have to do.
Interesting approach.
Because like you want them to leave with at least still feeling like you're a professional who had their best interest at heart. Right? Like you don't want them to going around being like, oh, I hired him, he sucked, couldn't do it.
Hmm.
But you gotta like You're
I
trying
kind
to
of see this a
protect the
little bit different
reputation
than
well.
you. Like
Yeah.
where, in so I think that my clients should have a fairly good understanding of how why I felt that they didn't sell
Yeah.
during the time. Like I want them to know even before we start that like essentially in my market, and it's probably different in yours, but my client's responsibility is show experience, my responsibility is marketing. Together we have to agree on pricing.
Yeah.
And I can prove that my marketing functions. Look at how many houses we sell. We gave them advice on the show experience and we got feedback. It either hit or it missed. And so most of the time, because we do so much prep, we're really just solving for price.
Yeah.
So I've been talking to them over the listing of why it didn't sell. But at the time that they don't choose to work with me, man, has that bothered me over time. Like I remember I had this one folks that I'd been to their house several times during the listing. We were having an overall good experience. They had the property on the market at like 1.3 million. And I was telling them, listen, our market is super sharky right now. Like we're a ways off.
Yeah.
We need to be like under 1.1. They eventually didn't return my calls leading up to the expiry, hired another realtor and let them notify me to go pick up my lockbox.
Yeah.
And like we didn't have any negative experiences and they listed with him at the price that I recommended them to move to.
Yeah. They just wanted a different face.
Yeah, so in that case, like sometimes I was the one that they learned with, like almost like being the rebound before the, girl goes and marries someone else, and I have to acknowledge that those situations happen regardless.
Well, it's
So
an
I can
ongoing joke.
debrief
The
and say,
best
what could I do
positions.
better to have repositioned them? Why did they
Yeah.
reposition? What did that guy say that I
Yeah.
didn't say? You know?
So sometimes some people just want a different fate, right? Like the running joke, which it's either what's the best positions in life, second wife or third realtor, or is it second realtor, third wife? But
I love being the second agent. It's my favorite position.
oh, it's
Like if
great.
your cousin just let you down, if
Yeah.
like you accidentally hired a extended family member that dresses like an adult that still lives at home and refers to his parents as roommates,
Yeah.
yeah, come to me. I'll
Well,
show you the
like
other side.
I think like the easiest way to exceed expectations is to come in with the lowest bar imaginable. Just gonna step over
Oh,
it.
it's so good. That's
Yeah.
my favorite thing about our accomplishments around reviews
Yeah.
is I am the orphanage of heartache and woe for those listings that didn't sell. Because once their cousin lets them down, man, they're going to reviews. That's how they're choosing their next agent.
Yeah. They're gonna be so much more discerning and like dive so deep.
Yeah,
But
and they might even interview three, and that's what I want. Like,
this
bring
is
them on.
back
Let's go.
to
It's
put
better
your
when I have
listing
to win it.
presentation on YouTube. Let that person sit and watch the whole thing.
Yeah, and this is like part of my winter program. So
Yeah.
I know that so just to recap, there's always a lot of things that we're working on here. I end up with a laundry list as the village guinea pig. Right now, the things that we have working in the back end is an upgrade to my website that we're going to run a pilot project on. We're also going to be getting back to you on some of the things that we did this year and how they panned out once I crunch the numbers. Our team will be business planning the beginning of December. That means that we'll have that analysis done before then. And then as we head into the winter, the one thing that I had to put off so I could just sell houses, because in order for everybody to eat, somebody's got to sell something pretty much every day here. Uh, so in that case, I put off my video program. Like there was some things that if I would have continued to put out more marketing, I would have run out of time. But that is the objective of 2026. Is 2026, I now have my two-person support team all lined up. I'm going to be leaning further into production, and now most of my network knows I'm back. So we want to put out a metric ton of video. It's going to be so many.
So we'll have to show you our real plan where it's like 6 minutes a day and you can get a video out every day.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm going to show you
Do
the
it. Do it.
broken thing that I've turned into a giant notion about taking the most common subjects in real estate and basically quadrupling the videos on each subject to the different buyer types, and then supplementing that with neighborhood highlights and my reaction to real estate videos online in the news. So
Yeah.
we're going to hone out this like keep the beat, like almost like the hi-hat of the short form vertical video. And then
Yeah.
Andrew had some smoking ideas for we want to use these to sell the big videos, which is going to be buying in 2026, selling in 2026. All of these things, me telling stories that are essentially our case studies.
And it's
Mhm.
all leading back to just more long form content, more trust building. And
And get above the noise.
yeah,
Artificial intelligence has lowered the cost of like seeking attention to zero. So the noise is so loud.
and I think
And
you'll
go
start
ahead.
to see this now. Some of them are start like more of the platforms are starting to talk about it, even though they're putting out other things of like, how can we like get real content back to the top again?
The
Like
people move the money.
exactly. Because
You
like
got to
it
get to
is
the people.
Twitter's the worst one for it, but I even see it in Facebook groups and Facebook in general. Not as much on Instagram yet have I noticed it, where you can tell, and LinkedIn's actually probably the worst for this, where every comment on posts are just AI,
Totally.
right? Where it's just like they repeat whatever the
Lincoln
person said in a
LinkedIn
different
might
way.
as well be AI. And even
Yeah,
before AI, it was like that because it really is that like corporate small talk. Oh,
yeah.
good job. That's so enlightening.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
95% of DMs are clearly not even real.
Yeah, but they were like people that are NPCs,
Yeah,
you
it's
know?
brutal. So my least like I mean, you can actually get really good reach on the platform, which is what's annoying about it, is because every other thing about the platform is the most annoying thing in the world. But you can actually get decent reach.
That's funny. Well, we will pick that up later, and we're
Yeah.
going to pick up other things. We are heading to the after show, which you can be part of if you're in the Zoom, like the people that are in the Zoom now. That include Leanne, always good to see you, and Miles and Ron from Vancouver. We got a great crew here of repeat folks, including Craig Knoftel, which I'll take about 24 episodes to get his name right. I think I hit it. So we're all going to the after show. You stop here if you've joined us on YouTube. This is your exit. But next time, you could have hit the Real Estate Magazine website. You could be popping right in to the chat. You could be part of this gallery that actually shapes our show. And we'd love to see you there and at this after show. But we'll
All
see
right.
you next time.
See you next week, unless you're here live.